What up, Dennis?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, bro?
Not bad, not bad.
Good, good, good. Yeah, I think we had a few other people getting mixed up with the Zoom link, so I wanted to make sure I got the right one in here. Any more deals, man?
Still waiting. I gotta follow up on some offers I made today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on those ones, they said no because it was too low, like the offer. But I mean, I told them I'll follow up this week. But
Okay, so you gave him offers on those?
yeah,
Nice.
I used the one the one image you sent me, like
Mm-hmm.
for the percentage. So
Oh, the TTP one?
yeah, yeah, and
What did
then
he what did he say?
he said it was too low, but if he don't get anything better than that, then he would consider it. So
There you go. That's what it's all
yeah,
about. So
yeah. And then
which property was that one?
it was so I told you I had two, like it was a package deal, and then the other one it was just the one by itself. So it was the one by itself.
So you offered 60 for both of them?
No, no. For both of them, I think I offered. He wanted 192 for one, and then 130 for the other one. I offered 200 for both. Sorry.
So we got North Euclid and then the other one as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I think Jameson's trying to get in here too. I want to see if we can get him in and then we'll go over it. So that thing that I posted in the group, like you mentioned, Dennis, like that TTP offer estimator, like that's just real quick if you need to make an offer quickly. Um,
Yeah.
talking to homeowners, like, and I'll go over with you like the actual way that I run numbers in most scenarios, like go more in depth on it. Um,
Okay. Yeah, that would be helpful.
yeah, compared to just, like doing the quick offer. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, as you can tell from the offer price like estimator thing there is that the whole idea about wholesaling is that I tell people like I'm helping homeowners avoid the hassle of a traditional sale. Like they're getting speed and convenience and trading that instead of getting equity out of their property, right? If they wanted the most equity they can, they would list it on the market with an agent. They'd fix it up, put it on the market. Like we're wholesaling is the quick and easy route, right? And it's for people that are very motivated and they don't want the highest amount possible. And that's how we're able to wholesale and make the fees selling to investors. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go over. So I have this template that I use every single time, and then also I'll go over like how to comp in particular using Zillow. You can use Zillow to comp very well. And everybody has access to it, so I like to use that. I mean, I've used the MLS in the past um, for using comparables, but Zillow is almost just as good as the MLS. It's just you won't see as many pictures sometimes, but you still can like filter and all of that using Zillow. Um, okay, so let's see if because I think there's two other people that were gonna come in here. If they're not gonna come in, I'll just get started for you guys. Um, Nick, you good now? Probably doing some data analysis at Ruha. Okay, let's see. I got you, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and text. Um, Cause I saw that Anthony was trying to get in. Or Jameson. Okay, but first and foremost, what what I would be able to do, and the first thing that you want to do when you're looking at any sort of properties, like Dennis, I'll pull up the ones that you had for this for sale by owner guy, since they're in Indy, and I'll show you how to like run comparables and then run the numbers on it. You'll see there's a common theme. We'll do this on multiple properties. Um, and a lot of the times it's less than 50% of ARV is what your offer is going to be. In most cases, 99% of the time. Just because like if there's a flipper who's going to be, unless the property needs like 5K in work, and the properties that we're normally wholesaling need more work than that. So if you take the ARV minus, holding cost, realtor fees, the rehab and their profit, it's almost always going to be less than 50% of the after repair value. So let's go ahead. I want to pull up the one and I'll share my screen. Is it 4001?
So you you do 50% off the ARV?
Yes, off the after
I
repair
thought
value.
it was 50% off the market value. That's why I was kind of confused because I was like,
Well,
that
so
this
here,
seems to be
that's
too
just
low.
the like overall thing. I'm gonna go into like more in depth how to specifically run numbers, but okay, so one of these is 4001 North Sheridan, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here. And this is one of the biggest things that, is a lot of new wholesalers and people get wrong. Like it took me a long time to figure this out. I had to go through like trying to sell deals that were overpriced like over and over again and not selling them. Um, okay, here's Jorge. Here we go. What up, Jorge? So we're getting into running comparables and finding the ARV. So what I'm gonna do here, and there's a couple different things that you want to look at. So I've got 4001 North Sheridan Avenue pulled up here. It's a 3-2, 1,029 square feet. So I'm going to look for properties that are similar in the similar area. Okay. So I'm going to click here, click out of it, and then I'm going to zoom in onto where the property is. So it's on North Sheridan. Okay, so it's in this neighborhood right here. And then I'm going to switch this filter to sold. Okay. And this is one thing that you want to take into account when you're running your comparables, is you don't want to cross major roads. You want to be like in the same highway or the same neighborhood within so this is a major road right here, North Arlington, and this is a major road on 42nd Street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my boundary in this little like area right here. Okay. So I'm gonna, oh, damn. That was horrible. Okay, let's see if I can make it straighter. Okay, so I'm going down 42nd and North Arlington, and then I'm gonna go right here. So I just made this boundary, and you can do this on Zillow on your computer. So I made that boundary for sold. Now I'm gonna do a little bit more filtering. What up, Junior?
What's up?
And so then since this is a 3-2, I'm gonna do, 3-2 for the bedrooms and bathrooms. Okay, and then I want to see the most recent sales. So I'm gonna do sold in the last 90 days. Okay, so there's nothing. So I'm gonna do a little bit. Are you with me, Dennis? Do you guys have any questions so far?
Yeah.
You good? Okay.
Yeah. How you draw that line again?
So you just you click remove boundary and then you click draw up here.
Okay.
So what I did is here, I'll do it over again. Okay. So 4001 North Sheridan. I click on it. I click on Zillow here. It's gonna load up for me and I see it's right here. So then I click out of this, click to the left, and then I zoom in to see the property. Okay, and it's still got my filters on it. So I zoom in, and this is the neighborhood in which it's in, right? So I want only to see properties that are within that neighborhood. So I'm gonna remove boundary and then draw, okay? Okay, so now I've got, you want 3 or 4 comparables to be able to, see what your property will sell for on the market, fixed up,
How's it going?
condition that it's in right now. Um,
Right.
so Dennis,
Not yet.
this property that you had, it needed quite a bit of work. Did it need like a full rehab?
No, mainly cosmetic.
Mainly cosmetic, okay. So there's 2 ways that you can look at this. You'd want to see homes that are completely renovated that have sold, or you can find properties that are similar condition that an investor bought. Okay. So I've got 4 properties here and I'm gonna check all these out. I'm gonna look at them. Okay. So this is a 3-2, 1250. It doesn't have any photos on here of it being renovated. So I'm assuming that this was an as-is purchase and it sold for 93,000. Okay. Then I go to this one. This one does have photos and it's a fixer-upper, right? This one does need work. Okay, so this one's probably pretty similar to the one that you've got. Okay. Now let's look at this one. Now this is a flip. Okay. So this one was flipped. This one's got completely renovated. It sold on the market. So this would be the after repair value. Whereas the 2 that I looked beforehand were as is. Does that make sense? And then this one's an as is purchase too. You follow?
What was the after repair value?
Say that again.
What was the after repair value? You said?
So there's only one property in the comparables that I found here that would be an after repair value property because it's fixed up, and that was this one. Whereas the other 3 properties here, these 3, sold as is, as like investor purchases. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do, since I have the as is, value of these properties, I'm going to take the price per square foot of what these ones sold for. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to take my calculator and I've got these 3 properties. I'm going to add up the price per square foot and then divide by 3 to get an average. If my computer will let me do it. I got too many fucking tabs open. But overall, Dennis, what I'm doing here is I'm finding what these other homes in the area have sold for to investors. That's what I was able to find. And if not, there weren't these 3, I would use the one that sold completely fixed up. Okay. So this one here on 3703 East 42nd, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,564 square feet. That's pretty damn similar to our original property that we had, right? Which was 4001 Sheridan, 4001 North Sheridan. So this is a 3-bed, 3-2. So I want to go back to the one that I had here. So it sold for 100. Okay, so I'm going to take 100,000 divided by 1564. That gives me 63. So that's the price per square foot of what it sold for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. And then so that's 63. And then I'm gonna go to the other two that I had and then find the price per square foot of these ones. So this one's got quite a bit more square feet. So that one's only 47. And this one has a little bit less square feet. So then 63, 47, and 74. So I'm gonna add them all up now. Plus 63, plus 47, and then divided by the amount of properties, 3. Okay, so that's the average price per square foot, 61, of the comparables that have sold in the area, right? And the reason that I did that now is I'm just going to multiply this number by our subject property. Okay, times 1,029, 63,261. Okay, so that is the price that an investor would pay. Okay. And so now that I know that, what I want to do is I'm going to offer this seller $20,000 to $25,000 as my first offer, less than this number. So my first offer should be about 40,000. Because I know that I'd be able to sell this home for 63,000. And you want to have some room to negotiate, so you could probably go up to, let's say, 50, and be able to sell it for 65. So that would be how I would find my offer for this type of property. Okay. Does that make sense, Dennis? You follow?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I know that was a lot. But essentially what I was doing is I found the homes similar to that one that sold for cash. Okay. And then I got the price per square foot of each one and I averaged it out and then multiplied it by the square foot of my property. That's a really good way to be able to comp and find your offer. Now we can look at another one. So I'll pull up one that I had that I was looking at today. And this isn't going to be a deal. I've got it under contract, but there's a reverse mortgage on it. That's too high, that is above what it's actually worth. So I wouldn't be able to do a deal on it. But let's just run the numbers on it just because. Okay. So I've got 1741 North Olive Street here in South Bend. So this is a 3-2 as well, 1,558 square feet. It's very similar to the one that you had in Indy, Dennis. So I've got photos on this one. It needs like a complete update on the interior. Now, if I were to go off of the offer estimator that I had in TTP, I would just do 35% of this estimate, which is normally you're going to be pretty solid if you do that. 35% of this estimate, because let me open this back up. That's in our chat here. Yeah, this is, if you want a quick offer without having to run numbers, you're pretty solid at doing this. You're pretty safe. Unless the property is a complete rehab, right? So if I were to do that on this one, where did my freaking calculator go? It disappeared. I think it's over here somewhere. Okay, whatever. I'll just open one up here. So I'll do, what is it? 151 times 0.35. I forgot the point. 52, which is about, I would say that's about right. But what I would want to do anyways is I'm going to run comparables on this. So as you can see, I see that the property is right here in this neighborhood. So I'm going to click out of Zillow, then I'm going to zoom into it. So it's right in here. Okay. So I'm going to do sold as my filter. And I'm going to go in and draw the boundary again. And I'm going to draw it in this neighborhood. So I'll do like here. Then I'll go down to Elwood. And then I'll stay right there. Okay, so staying in that neighborhood. It's a 3-2. So then I'm going to filter for 3-2. And then I want to do sold as recent as possible. So let's check 90 days. Okay, so I've got 2 properties here. So I'm going to look for ones that are similar build style. This one is a kind of similar build style. It doesn't have a garage attached. So this one's a single level home. So this wouldn't be a good home to use as a comparable. You want to make sure the homes are as close to the subject property as possible. So I'm going to pull up my subject property again here. Okay, so it's 2 levels and it's got an attached garage, and it was built in 1968. So I want my homes that I look at to be similar to that one, right? So I don't have any here. So then I'll do 6 months. Okay, let's check a few of these. Could possibly use this one. It's a 2-story. This one's even closer. This is like a fully renovated, rehabbed. It's got a garage attached. It's a 3-bed, 3-bath, and it was built in 1927, so it's a bit older. This would be a really good comparable. But I still don't think that's enough. So I'm going to go back a little bit further to 12 months and see what else that we have. So I've got a 168 here. That is a single level. I've got a 106 there, 133 here, 153. Okay. So this is an after repair value property as well, because it's completely fixed up. So I'm going to use these 3 right here because my subject property is right over here. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the last one. Find the price per square foot. So that's 107. This one's 123. And this one's 91. So 107, 123 plus 91, and then divided by 3. So I get 107 as my average price per square foot. So then I multiply that by this, by 1558, and it's going to come out to be pretty close to this estimate. Usually Zestimate is pretty dang close to what a property will sell for on the market. If it's in a neighborhood. If it's in a neighborhood in the city, you can go off of it pretty well. Feel free to stop me and ask me any questions throughout this in the chat or anything as I explain this. So 166 is what this property will sell for fixed up. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up this template that I use for you guys about a flip calculator. Okay. But the ARV is the biggest thing that you want to figure out. Like if I had 166, I multiply that by 0.35. That's a pretty good starting point, but that would be my max, right? So when I go to my homeowner, I'm going to say, first and foremost, I want to say, would you rather have speed and convenience or the most amount possible? And we're talking about wholesale deals here, right? And if they say they want speed and convenience, then you continue talking to them and be like, that's what I would be able to offer, be cash as is. But it is not the highest amount possible. And I don't get to decide the numbers. It goes off of what my underwriters say. And then you want to give them an offer that is lower than that 35%, right? So if I have 166 and I multiply that by 35%, 0.35, 58, my first offer is going to be 40, right? Because I want to have room to negotiate. Okay. And also that makes it so you get better spreads on your deals. I had to realize that very early when I was wholesaling. I would lock up deals for way too much and they just would not sell. Okay. Unless you've got a hedge fund in your pocket that is buying properties at 85% of ARV, you got to make very low offers. That's just how it is. So then I'm going to show you guys this template of how this works. So I've got an ARV of 165. Okay, and I estimated minimum profit should normally be 30,000. Rehab costs on that property, it's going to need a full update. So that's about $25 per square foot. So it's going to be 35 to 40,000. I'll always want to round up. So 40,000. Then I've got my realtor commissions, utilities. And so here we'll go down here. Say 70,000 as a purchase price. Okay, so now I've got a max offer of 70, right? And this came out to 58. It's much better. So this is what a flipper would pay. Like this is the max amount that someone who you're selling the deal to as your investor is going to want to pay for your property. Okay. So that's why this 58 works. That's why it's your max, because you want to make at least 10 on your wholesale fees. Right. So I would offer to start at 40 to 45 and then have my max be 60 because I'm going to sell to a flipper the maximum amount at 70. And most times flippers would want to be even below this, right? And what does that even come to? Like I mentioned at the beginning of this, it's less than 50% of ARV. 50% of 165, that would be, I think it's like 72, something like that. 82, right? Came out to 70. Okay, so I know I went through a lot there. Do you guys have any questions? Dennis, does that help, brother?
Yeah, it does. I wasn't sure about how do you like if you could do another one. See how do you
Yeah.
do the square footage, like the square footage. That's where I was confused. How to
Yeah.
calculate the square footage, what you call it.
Do you have another
Like,
property that you'd want me to look at and I can go through it again?
yeah, the second one I gave you.
Oh, the other one?
Yeah, Euclid. Forgot the number.
Okay, here. I know we've got it in our chat here. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Okay, so this is and the seller's asking 135. Now, I love that you still like, because I would used to in the beginning, what I want to get across to you guys is like, even when sellers would have these askings, is I would want to go close to their askings when it's like, hey, this is what I can offer, and you still offer them the amount, right? As long as you have the relationship, and you like they're motivated, you should be able to give a low offer without them like hanging up the phone on you. You should be like, hey, This is just what my investors, say. I don't run the numbers. This is just how it is. I'm just the, don't shoot the messenger type deal, right? That's where the sales comes into things. Okay, Nick, you had a question. Where do you go to find the actual investor to buy the property, and are we held to Indiana specifically, and who underwrites these things? Great questions. Okay, so before we get into this one, Dennis, I'll go over your questions here, Dennis. So a lot of people ask that about like finding the investor. When you have a great deal under contract at a great price, you won't have a problem finding the investor. Okay. I would have the same thought too. But if you have a great deal and like there's the Fort Wayne RIA group, there's these groups all over everywhere, right? In Indiana and Ohio, in Michigan, in California, in Dayton, everywhere, right? There's these investor groups. If you have a great deal and you post it there with your asking price, you'll be able to sell it. Now, once what I want to get across is like getting the great deal is the first and foremost thing. Because once you have the deal, we could go over even specific strategies, how to like pinpoint some buyers and call them if you want to do that. But it's much harder to get the deal compared to it getting the buyer. And you're not held to Indiana specifically. I like staying in the Midwest, just because that's what that's what I've done. I know the area. I've got, a lot of, like you're talking about, investors that I bring properties to, that I've been in business with multiple years in a row. So it's working. So that makes sense for me now. And a lot of times too, Nick, it helps starting out to be in the area in which you're in, because you can go to the properties, you can go to see homeowners face to face. It's much easier to start in your, hometown. Because if let's say you start in Chicago, which would be a horrible city to start in, but let's just say you start there. Number one, they have really bad wholesaling restrictions. And number two, it's you don't know the market as well. You're like not in the area. Like if you're in Fort Wayne, you'd be able to go see a home and be like, okay, I can tell this motherfucker needs a lot of work. So in Chicago, you would need to get somebody to go take photos for you. It's a little bit harder. So starting in the hometown is easier and it's a better way to get a great deal, but by no means are you held to Indiana specifically. If you'd want to, you can go out into other areas. And who underwrites these things? So I underwrite them myself on all the deals, right? And I like to say, because I am representing my investors, unless I'm buying a property for myself, I tell homeowners that I represent investors in this area. So the way that I ran the numbers here, that's how flippers run numbers, 99.9% of them. They're going to put their profit in. They're going to take the rehab costs. They're going to see how much it costs for realtor commissions, holding costs, loan amount to get their numbers. So I would just say that the investors that I represent are underwriting it. But overall, like you should be underwriting all of the deals yourself. Okay. Hopefully that answered some of your questions. Good questions there, Nick. So then let's go into North Euclid. Okay, so this is I don't know how many bathrooms. I'll hop on a prop stream and see how many bathrooms it is. But we're gonna do the same thing that I did with the other property. So let's go to.
This one is two beds, two bath.
Oh, it's a 2-bed, 2-bath?
Yeah.
Okay. So also another thing to take into account, more bedrooms, it usually means it's going to sell for more. Hopefully you guys know that. Also more bathrooms too. If you have 1.5, that normally counts as 2. So just more bedrooms and bathrooms means the ARV should be a little bit higher. Okay. So I'll just go off of 2-bed, 2-bath. So I'm going to do the same thing here, Dennis. So I've got this property and it's in between North Sherman and East 30th. I think it's pretty close to the other one. and it's in between Massachusetts here. So I'm going to click out of Zillow. Then I'm going to zoom in to the neighborhood. Oh yeah, it's the same neighborhood. These are in the same neighborhood. I didn't realize that.
They are.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it's going to be very, very similar. So I've got this little triangle neighborhood. So I've got zoomed in on it. I'm going to draw just so I can get that neighborhood. Okay. And then I'm going to apply and then add a few more filters, right? I just want to do like bedrooms and bathrooms normally. So I'm going to do two twos, right? Or two 1.5s. Okay. And then I'll do the time frame that I want it to be as soon as possible. Normally 90 days works, but I don't have any within 90 days. So I'm gonna go to 6 months. So I've got one, usually want at least three comparables to look at. 12 months, still don't have anything. So I'll go back to 24. Okay, so now I've got a few more. All right. So I'm gonna look at all four of these. Okay, so this one here, this one's actually active. It sold a few months back or maybe a year ago. Okay, so now as I look at this property, this is another thing that you can do. If Zillow has the information that shows you what it sold for, you definitely want to take that into account. So this sold for 100,000 on the market and then was put back on the market a year later for 140. So they did some work to it and put it back on the market. I don't know how they're going to be making any money on this property. They're probably going to be very, very slim. But they bought it for 100. So I did that in 2023. So if I look at this home and they need a little bit of work, it sold for 100. I'm like, okay, I could go off of that, but that's just one. So let's look at this one. This is not a comparable, right? Why do you think this one, Dennis, wouldn't be a comparable?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, just by looking at it.
No, it seems bigger.
Yeah, so our subject property is a
That one
single
sounds like a
family.
duplex.
Yep. And that one's a duplex. So you want to get as similar as possible for what these are sold for, right? So this is our subject home here. So this one wouldn't be a comparable for us just because it's a duplex, right? So let's check out this one here. Now, this is probably the best one. I've only looked at 3, but I would say this one's pretty close, right? It's a 2-2, 2-bed, 2-bath, 864 square feet. It's one level, right? And it's completely rehabbed. So I'd say, okay, that's a really damn good comparable that I could use. And then this one's pretty good as well. Okay, but then I also want to check the year build date. This is 1960. This one may be built brand new. Hopefully it's not. Okay, 1922. Good. So it's built older, so it's not a new build. That's one thing about Indy you gotta watch out for, is there's a lot of new builds, okay, that will change the ARV quite a bit. So you want to check that year build date. So then this one here is built 1964. So if I go back here, that was sold in 2022. So that was pretty old. I would use this one for the ARV. Okay. And that's a pretty high ARV, which is good. Okay, so 187 for this estimate there. Now you also have to take into account, like when you're looking at this, see, sometimes this is where comping it gets hard, and this is why I wanted to go over it with you guys early, because this is where a lot of people like slip up. So this property is all the way on this side of the neighborhood, and the one that we're looking at is all the way over here. Okay, and Indy is very block by block, right? I know Dennis, you live there, so you probably know this, but if you've ever been in Indianapolis and a lot of these bigger cities, they're very much so block by block. Like I could drive 3 streets away and be in the hood, right? Um, so you have to take that into account as well. So this is where, it's hard. I would actually probably use this one, right? Because this sold most recently as an investment to someone at 100. So that's what an investor paid for this. So I'll take 100. Oh, that's actually a duplex too. I'm sorry. So that wouldn't be a good one either. So yeah, this is a tougher home to be able to comp, like if I'm being completely honest. Just because there's not a lot of comparables in the area. Like there's those duplexes right there. Let's go back a little further. See, now this sold quite some time ago, but you could use this one. That one's a little bit closer. It's one level. Yeah, this one's really damn close. It's actually right next to this one. So we'll just use this one. Even though it sold more than 2 years ago, we'll use this one. It's right next to it, right? Okay. So now we've got our comparable. So the price per square foot on this one is 145. All right, so now I'm going to go to subject property. 145 times 1068. It's going to be about 150. Okay, that would be your after repair value of this property fixed up. Now, if we go off of the TTP calculator, right? That's in between, 250 and 100. So I'll do 35%. It's going to come out to 52.5. Now, if I were to put this into the actual flip calculator, 50,000. I was kind of all over on that one. I apologize. It's a bit harder to comp on that one there. Yeah, Flipper would offer 70. So then if you got this under contract at 55, you could have a 15 grand wholesale fee. Okay. And most flippers are going to want to be a little bit lower, so they'd probably want to be at like 65, but you can push them up. So yeah, that would be my max offer would be 52 to 55 here on this one. Okay. That makes sense, Dennis?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just that these buyers, their asking price is way too high. But like you said, you just gotta make the offer and just, you know, just wait and see if it works or not. But I was actually going to Redfin for my comps, and but I was going more with the zip code, not like with the closest. I was
Yep.
it's hard to find comps around there. But on Redfin, you could find some houses that sold for like 200 or something.
Right. Yep. Indy can be very block by block. So comping and offering, this is why so many like people who are starting out in the industry get a bad rap, and because and they don't sell their deals, like, and why they get out of the industry, right? Because they promise their homeowners an offer that they just can't fulfill. And homeowners, this is one thing we can go over in the next topic discussion is about sales and how to actually like speak to the homeowners to get them at a point where they're motivated enough to accept a lower offer, because you ultimately have to speak to a motivated homeowner for them to accept something like this. Like he was asking 135 for his property, right? And the one next door sold for 140 and it looks like this. Okay. A lot of sellers are just delusional about their pricing. He thinks that he'll be able to get 135 when his property doesn't have a brand new kitchen, a brand new roof, a brand new windows, a brand new floors. Like that won't happen. you know? So you have to speak to that homeowner and be like, hey, if you want to sell for 135, you can do that. But in order to do that, you're going to need to fix up your home in the condition of this one and then sell it on the market. Do you want to do that? Or you're gonna take a much lower offer to an investor who would just buy it as is and I can close within a few weeks. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. It's
Yeah.
either or, right? That's what wholesaling is. It's helping these people who want to avoid the hassle of fixing their property and selling it with an agent. Because trust me, you know, a lot of people would come up to me and be like, who wants to do that? There's a lot of people that do. And you just have to talk to the right ones that are motivated enough, you know, get into. And a lot of times there's times where sellers are so grateful that I was able to actually help them sell their property and do it quickly because they were in a bad spot. So yeah, man, it's good that you're taking action and doing it. But continue to talk this over. We can go over that in the next topic discussion. That's another thing to go over about how to speak to this homeowner and run through the options with them about whether it would even make sense for them to accept an investor's offer. Because like I've mentioned, it's like, hey, you want that amount, you're going to hire contractors, you're going to fix it up, you're going to hire a realtor, you're probably going to have inspections, you're probably going to have appraisals. It's going to sell in maybe 3 to 4 months from now at the minimum, at the maximum. Like that is like, it will take 3 months before it sells, at least. And running.
Yeah, that's what I kind of that's what I kind of explained to him when I went and sold the house. But yeah, he just said, I'm put an offer and I'll consider it. And so he said, but yeah, I kind of explained it to him that if he wants to get like that amount that he's asking for, he's gonna have to sell it to like someone that's actually gonna live in there, and then they're probably gonna do inspection and appraisal, and you know that's the most he could get. You know, that's what I told.
Good.
And yeah, so that's what he told me. But even the offer that I made might be too high for for wholesale.
And still though, even at that point, like that's not horrible. It's just going to be a little bit harder to sell if you get it under contract for that price. At 60, right, is what you offered.
Yeah.
Because the max a flipper would pay based on the numbers that I ran, is 70, right? So you would probably get a serious investor to at least you could get them if you're good enough to like selling it, to do 65. And this is a whole other aspect. This is why we have all these topic discussions. There's so many different ways to go about this, but this is very foundational of like when you guys get your deals under contract, I want them to be good deals so you can actually sell them. Like that was the biggest hurdle for me in the beginning. So yeah, and then we'll go over to Dennis. It's really good that you talk to him like that because that's planting a seed with him. You know, a lot of these homeowners, Junior knows, like at Middle America Homes, you plant the seed and then 3, 4 months later, they finally come to their senses that they don't want to fix up their home and list it and they want to sell to you. Right? It's all about planting seeds, trying to put these people into the right scenario. And this will be our next topic discussion. We'll go over the sales, but it's the sales aspect of it is literally like running through the options with them to make it so that they make the decision themselves, right? Because I'm assuming that this homeowner here, Dennis, if you follow up with them in a week or two and say, hey, what are you thinking? Are you still wanting to do the work to it and then try and get the most amount? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, okay. Did you get any other offers on it as of yet? Oh, no, I haven't. Oh, okay. Well, what do you say we could possibly try and work something out? And then you could just keep talking to him, keep following up, and then you'll get the deal. Okay.
Right.
There's steps to it.
Would you say the comps and Redfin are the same as the comps in Zillow, or like are they different?
Um,
Like just everything on.
yes, you can use Redfin and those other sites too. Um, for me personally, what I've found is that Zillow is the easiest to do what I did right here. Of like making the boundary, finding the comparables, doing all of that. Redfin will have similar ones, but you just want to make sure, like I'll put in the recording post that I send to you guys after I get this of like the things that you really want to look for your comparables. As long as you have these things, you should be fine. Now, okay, so I'll just run through it quickly, but I'll put this in like a notes form. You want to have at least three properties that have the same bedrooms and bathrooms. Okay. They want to be a similar square footage. You want to have them sold as recent as possible. They want to be in the same neighborhood as that property. Okay. Um, and similar year build. All right. That's how you run your comps. As long as you do that for any property that you have, you'll be fine. You can use Redfin, you can use Zillow, you can use Realtor.com, whatever it may be. As long as you use that for your comparables to find the as-is price that it would sell for or the after repair value, you'll be fine. Okay, and I'll post that in the group with the recording. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yep. Dude, you're gonna be a freaking deal machine here, bro. I'm excited for you. All right. Anybody else got any questions? Nick, do you have anything? Jorge Jr.? Cool. Yeah, so this is yes, sir, Nick. I'm excited for you, brother. Man, I'm excited for you guys to be sharing all the deals you're gonna be getting. But this is really the beginning portion. Like you want to have this as a foundation, so that you can get great deals under contract. Because one of the most heart-wrenching things that I went through in this industry, is for months when I first started, I would lock deals up too high, and then I'd get mad at the team that I was with because they wouldn't sell. When it was ultimately my fault for locking it up too high. And I don't want you guys to lock something up too high. Tell a seller that you're going to be able to close and do all of this, and then not be able to sell it because an investor wouldn't be able to buy it. Now, there's a certain scenario, and this is where I'll like, you guys have access to me. If this comes up, where like if a seller lies about condition, which does happen, right? You go and you see that a foundation is bowing in, that constitutes for a price drop, right? But it's on us to be able to run numbers correctly and get the property at the best price that we can, right? Okay. All right. That's our topic discussion for this week. Hope you guys learned from that. If you need anything else, text me. If you want my number for like a one-on-one call, just let me know. I'm available for you guys as well. That's what this group is for. Have a great rest of your week.
Peace.